Hello everybody, this is NQ Productions here and welcome to a brand new video. Now as you guys can see from the title, this video is an update video. More specifically, the NQ Productions March 2022 update video. This update video will mainly focus on upcoming videos and projects, but I'll also be talking about a couple of other small changes that I feel like I should talk about in this video. And just like all of my other update videos, I highly recommend that you guys watch the entire video so that you don't miss any information that I say in this video. Alright, and with all that said, let's start talking about some channel updates. So the first update I want to talk about has to do with my channel's avatar. Now the channel avatar that you're currently seeing on screen right now, I have been using for a very long time. In fact, my current PowerPoint avatar has been in use since October of 2019. That's over 2 years ago. So, since this animated version of myself has been in use for over 2 years, I felt like it was time for a change. So instead of my avatar looking like this, it now looks like this. This is what my channel avatar looks like from now on, and as you can see, I made a lot of changes. The proportions of my new avatar are now consistent with all of my other animations. My new avatar has no black outlines, there's more detail to the face, the hair is completely different, the eyebrows are now on every single pose of my new avatar, and my outfit is now different. Instead of wearing a Minecraft t-shirt, I am now wearing an NQ Productions themed hoodie. Although, sadly, there's no actual NQ Productions themed hoodie that exists in real life. I wish there was, but there's not right now. But anyways, that's the first update in this video. I have a brand new channel avatar. Now the next update I want to talk about is actually really cool. I am now in possession of a physical green screen. And if you don't believe me, bam! This is some footage of my physical green screen. I know I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I'm just really happy that I now have a green screen in my hands, and now I can use it in some of my future videos. Okay, so far in this update video we've talked about a brand new channel avatar and a green screen, but now we're gonna get to the fun part of this update video, all of the upcoming animations and videos I have planned for you guys. And trust me, this is a big list of videos. Get excited, because we have a lot to talk about. The first project I want to talk about is a brand new series that's coming to the channel. Now, this is not an animated series, this is a new series of reviews, and the series will be called Do You Remember? That's right guys, the brand new series of reviews is called Do You Remember? Now what Do You Remember is going to be about is that we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of old movies, old TV shows, and a whole bunch of old YouTube videos that you probably forgot about. We'll be talking about things that'll make you go, oh yeah, I remember that. And if you're wondering if I already have episode ideas in mind, well, as you can see from this Word document, I have plenty of episodes ready to go. Some episodes I'm really looking forward to make, and others, not so much. But nonetheless, I'm glad that I have these episode ideas written down, because that way, I don't run out of episode ideas. I'm really looking forward to getting this series started, and the first episode of Do You Remember should probably premiere in the second quarter of 2022. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention about Do You Remember, and that it's basically going to replace Quick Thoughts, because Quick Thoughts was a series of reviews that I did on my channel, and nobody gave a single crap. None of the episodes got a lot of views, which was a way of telling me that nobody cared about that series. Hopefully, the same thing doesn't happen with Do You Remember? Alright, so the next project we're going to be taking a look at has to do with ZAMination and EnchantedMob. What I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to make two different videos that both relate to ZAMination and EnchantedMob. The first video is going to be my last review of Fazbear and Friends. This review is mainly going to focus on how much of a disaster the series has become, talking about all the negatives of this stupid series, the unfunny jokes, the downgraded animation, the annoying characters, the lackluster stories, and more. Not to mention all of the weird, sexual, and cringy moments that happen in the series way too much. Yeah, so that's what the first ZAMination video is going to be about. The final review of Fazbear and Friends. And I also never want to see that clip of Bonnie and Circus Baby ever again. Now the second video that I'm going to make that's related to ZAMination and EnchantedMob has to do with the channels themselves. What I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to make a very long video talking about how these two YouTubers went from passionate animators to a soulless company that only cared about the money. Not only that, but I'll also talk about the huge amount of drama and controversies that Zam and Emob have gotten themselves into. Trust me, it's some nasty stuff. I'm really looking forward to making both of these videos, not only to show you guys that ZAMination and EnchantedMob are just not good YouTubers anymore, but also to show you guys the drama and controversies that Zam and Emob have gotten themselves into. And this information needs to be shown to the public. It needs to be shown to everybody. And hopefully, my video on the downfall of their channels is gonna help with that. And just like with Do You Remember, the final Fazbear and Friends review as well as the downfall of Zam and Emob video are scheduled to release in the second quarter of 2022. Alright, so that's all the upcoming videos that aren't animations. So now let's take a look at all the upcoming animations. So in this update video, we'll be talking about 4 animations. Now the first 2 animations we'll be talking about have previously been announced in my September 2021 update video, but the last 2 animations I'll be talking about have never been mentioned once on this channel, so we're going to get a mixture of both in this update video. The first animation we'll be talking about is the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's. As the name implies, this is an Alvin and the Chipmunks and Five Nights at Freddy's crossover animation. The plot of this video is that Alvin, Simon, and Theodore have entered Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and are doing the night shift within the security office. They'll be closing the doors and checking the lights like you do in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game, but there will also be moments in the animation where they leave the security office to explore the pizzeria, and towards the end of the video, they'll have to come face to face with all 4 animatronics. This is an animation that I am really excited to work on because not only is it an animation where I get to bring together 2 of my favorite franchises period, but it's also an original crossover that no one has really come up with. The Chipmunks Night at Freddy's is currently scheduled to be released at the end of 2022, but don't be surprised to see that release date get pushed back. Now, late 2022 is really far away from now, so what I'm going to try and do is that to prevent a large upload gap between animations, I'm planning on releasing 10 to 30 second long FNAF mini animations while you guys wait for the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's. These FNAF mini animations are going to be super easy to make, and they're a way to keep you guys interested in the channel while in the background, I'm going to be working on the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's as well as other major projects. And with this plan, not only is there not going to be a giant upload gap with animations, but it's also a way for me to give you guys more FNAF content. Speaking of FNAF, the next animation we're going to be talking about is the Bite of 83 30 years later. As the name implies, this animation takes place 30 years after the events of my Bite of 83 animation, meaning that this new animation takes place in 2013. The plot of this animation focuses on the 4 bully characters, Michael Afton, Joseph Wood, Mike Schmidt, and Patrick Burton, where we see how their lives have been within the last 30 years. Joseph becomes a professional NHL player for the Detroit Red Wings and plays in the NHL from 1989 to 2009 before retiring and living a normal life afterwards. Mike Schmidt does his FNAF 1 night shift in 1993 and then a week later gets fired. And then, 6 years later in 1999, moves from Salt Lake City, Utah to Los Angeles, California to become a teacher for a famous high school. Patrick becomes a mechanic and opens his own auto shop from 1998 to the present day, and Michael Afton, well, I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with what happens to him. Michael Afton visits Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, gets himself scooped, turns into a walking purple corpse, yada yada yada, we've all seen this before. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention about the Bite of 83 30 years later. With the exception of Michael Afton's story, all the stories that happen in the Bite of 83 30 years later are not canon to Five Nights at Freddy's. This is just all stuff I'm making up for fun, because why the heck not? Anyways, the Bite of 83 30 years later is scheduled to release after the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's, meaning that it's most likely gonna come out in 2023. Okay, so The Bite of 83 30 Years Later and the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's were animations that I've already talked about before on this channel, but the next two animations we're going to be talking about have never been mentioned once on this channel before. These animations are going to be completely new to NQ Productions. The first animation we'll be talking about has to do with the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament franchise. Now, I have said many times before that Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 was the finale of my Stick Figure Fighting Tournament series, and even though I uploaded a video that was called Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4, that video was nothing but a big April Fool's joke. But speaking of that Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 April Fool's video, that video was uploaded on April 1st of 2020, and that was the last time I uploaded anything related to the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament franchise on this channel, almost 2 years ago. And 6 months ago I was fine with that, but nowadays, that really bugs me. Having this joke of a video as the final Stick Figure Fighting Tournament related upload on NQ Productions just didn't feel right to me. And even though Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3 is supposed to be the finale of the Stick Figure Fighting Tournament series, there are ways that a fourth tournament can be made. So, after a little bit of thinking, I'm going to make the following announcement. I am going to be making an actual Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4. So here's how it's going to work. The title of this animation is Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 Battle of the Champions. Now, why is it called Battle of the Champions? Well, unlike my other tournaments where I added a whole bunch of new characters, this tournament is only going to have the winners of the previous 3 tournaments. And in case you're wondering what I mean by winners, I'm referring to the stick figures that came in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the previous 3 stick figure fighting tournaments. Now, since I'm going to be talking about the winners of each stick figure fighting tournament video, if you have not seen any of my stick figure fighting tournament videos, go to this timestamp right now to avoid spoilers. Alright, so here are the winners of each tournament. In Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 1, gray comes in 3rd, purple comes in 2nd, and blue comes in 1st. In Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 2, red comes in 3rd, orange comes in 2nd, and yellow comes in 1st. And then lastly, in Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 3, red comes in 3rd again, and then teal comes in 2nd, and maroon comes in 1st. That leaves 8 different stick figures, all of which can compete in one 8-person tournament, which is just the perfect coincidence. And then in this tournament, we'll see who's the true champion of the SFFT franchise. Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 is scheduled to release in 2023. Super excited to get this tournament started. Alright, there's only one more animation left to talk about before we're done today. And this animation I've kind of talked about before, but also not at the same time. You'll see why later. And that animation is the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. Yep, we're talking about it again. For those of you who don't know, the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake was an animated project that I was working on for the majority of 2021. It was a shot-for-shot remake of the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll scene from the 1987 animated film The Chipmunk Adventure, and this remake was supposed to come out last year. However, I had difficulties with animating this video to the point where I actually canceled the animation, and I announced said canceling in my September 2021 update video. Well, I'm here today to tell you that the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake has been uncancelled. It's coming back. Now, even though the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake has been uncancelled, that does not mean I'm going to go back to working on it as soon as possible. This project is not going to be worked on for a long while. I just wanted to let you guys know that the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake has been uncancelled, and at some point, I will get back to working on it. But there are still 2 things I want to mention about the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. 1, we're starting from scratch. Even though I was 25% done the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake before I canceled it, I just feel like going back to square one is just a smart idea, especially if I'm taking this remake in a new direction, which is probably what I'm going to do. Oh, and if you're still wondering, yes, I have that USB with all of the old original files. And 2, I'm possibly going to be using a different animation software for this newer Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll Remake. Right now, there are 3 animation softwares that I have in mind: Microsoft PowerPoint, Toon Boom Harmony, and Blender. But right now, I'm not sure which animation software I should use for this newer Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake. I'll probably announce which animation software I'm using at a later time. Now, you may be wondering, when is the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake gonna come out? Well, all I can say right now is that the release date is currently unknown. It could release as early as 2025 or as late as 2056. But for now, the only thing you guys really need to know about the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake is that the animation has been uncancelled and that the video will be uploaded to NQ Productions at some point. Wow, this update video was a lot longer than I thought it would be, but nonetheless, we have finally made it to the finish line. So, what have we talked about in this update video? Well, I have a brand new avatar, I got myself a physical green screen, a brand new series of reviews called Do You Remember will be releasing on the channel in 2022, I'm making my final Fazbear and Friends review, I'm making a video about the downfall of ZAMination and EnchantedMob, the Chipmunks Night at Freddy's is an animation that's coming out at the end of 2022, The Bite of 83 30 years later is an animation that's releasing in 2023, Stick Figure Fighting Tournament 4 Battle of the Champions is another animation that's releasing in 2023, and lastly, the Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll remake has been uncancelled and is going to release on the channel at some point. Wow, that was a mouthful. Oh, and for those of you who decided to watch the entire video, I just want to say thank you. It's greatly appreciated. So, are you guys excited for all the animations and projects that I announced in this video? And you want to see them real soon? Well then make sure to hit that red subscribe button as well as the notification bell to not miss a single video from me. It's free and it really supports the channel. You guys can also join my Discord server as well as check out my Twitter profile, both of which will be linked in the description. And with that said guys, thank you for watching this long update video and I will see you all in the next video. So long, guys.